Bang. Oh, hey. Check. Hey, everybody. This is Patrick with MT Knives coming to you live from the Ozarks. Get mic'd up here. What do you think? How's everybody doing tonight? Get set up here. So, it's cold. What month are we in? It got chilly. Thought about firing up the wood stove or firing up the heat in the shop. It's not too bad in here, but it's been a day. It's been a busy day. Let me see. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Let me see. Hopefully you guys can hear me fine. Got some, hey, what's going on? I got set up for a little bit of a podcasting, whatever area here. I'm using the mic because if I was trying to use my audio on the, hey, Rodney, if I was trying to use the mic on the computer, this shop is like concrete and steel, so it echoes a lot. So I'm going to do something to help kind of with the acoustics. But got some metal up on the walls, got my sign up, got my lights up, which you can't see. And yeah, I got done recording a podcast today with none other than Dixie, Homemade Wanderlust, Jessica Mills, bride to Rodney, who's in the chat today. So that was fun. She started a new podcast called Off Trail with Dixie. I believe I got that right. And yeah, she invited me on her show. I was happy to come along and just ramble about all sorts of stuff. So not sure when that's going to air, but I will let you guys know. I'm looking for the stone that's probably right here. So I say this every week, but it's been a busy week. We had company. We had company Friday. I got back from Tennessee last week, and the week just flew by. Had company coming in town. We had 4 sets of visitors in the last 3 days. So, and then I had that podcast today. We did, my children were at Baker's Creek Spring Planting Festival, and they were set up selling things, spoons, hats, aprons, all sorts of stuff. I should have set up my sharpening stuff, but I didn't. So I didn't really feel like sharpening knives. I've got a lot of work to get done. I've got some custom orders to finish up. I got to get ready for another show coming up, Doug and Stacy's, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy's. So I just had too much on my plate to try to set up and go out there. Excuse me. Baker's Creek is only within an hour of our place, so it's not bad. We used to travel a lot further to go to that. And yeah, so it's kind of nice to have that in my back door. Got this sharpening thing set up here, sort of, kind of. I was trying to decide if I'd be able to get the camera, cut my head off, slide her back. I figured I might do some sharpening tonight. Rodney, I hear that you need some help sharpening knives, which I know you were doing good. It's probably something easy, but also let's talk about sharpening being a skill. And like any skill, it's a skill that you have to hone. So I was telling Jessica here I spent a lot of time sharpening a knife here recently, and I wasn't really happy with the results I got. So even myself, who has sharpened hundreds, thousands of knives, um, you have your good days and you have your bad days, and hand sharpening, um, there's a lot of nuances in it. Yeah, I used diamond whetstone freehand, and I didn't know if I unintentionally worked it at the wrong angle or what. So I like diamonds and I don't like diamonds. There's a good chance that you may have got a false burr. There are times when the edge feels like you have established a burr, but you haven't. And so what I like to do is check for a burr in multiple ways. This might be a loud click. We'll see. Pull my knife out. So a telltale true way to check your edge is to get a good light source, and look at the edge straight on, moving the edge side to side and back and forth, and seeing if any light reflects off that edge. If you got any light reflecting off the edge, you do not have the edge established. Today, I had to sharpen my lawnmower blades. I may have taken it a little too far. I was trying to shave with it just to hit a rock. Yeah, I know that feeling. You know, there's a lawnmower blades don't need to be shaving sharp, but boy, sometimes it's nice to have them shaving sharp. Um, and it's sad when you do a lot of work to sharpen knives and then you end up hitting something like a rock or hit something. I don't remember. I was sharpening a knife the other day, and I don't remember what happened, but I carelessly knocked it into something and took the edge off. And I was like, well, that was dumb. So I'm going to show you guys this. I should share you a link, but I didn't do it. This is a Amazon sharpener. I'll try to get a link, post it. It's XR whatever. This is like $100. And I reached out to, there's a lot of fixed angle sharpeners now. And I was sharpening it with this sharpener at the event last week. And somebody asked me, they're like, why are you doing that? And there is a lot of things that I like about a sharpener like this. There's some things that I would change. I'm actually in contact with, what is it? TSP Prof, TS Prof knife sharpeners. I'm trying to get them to send me one of their sharpeners. It's like $800, and that's a lot of money. I've spent a lot of money on sharpening stuff. I don't need any more sharpening stuff, but I'd like to review their sharpener. I'd like to give it a fair shakedown. This $100 sharpener is good, and it will do a lot of what that TS Prof will do. However, it lacks a little bit in the build quality. I believe the stones that come with it are, I don't even know what stones came with this. I had to find them, but I'm using other stones that didn't come with this system. So, yeah, we'll see what they say. I could see them not sending me a system, but I also don't want to spend the money on something that I don't really need. And yeah, I think that was the weather app on my phone. I wonder if we're going to get some storms coming in. So anyways, what I like about this, let's talk about what I like. What I like about this system is the repeatability, ease of use. So you clamp your knife in. One thing I don't like about it is, yeah. Oh, I actually, so I 3D print it, squirrel. I 3D printed a piece for this. What it's going to allow me to do is put it on here and then put this clamp on the 3D printed part to get the knife centered up for a small knife. You can't move these clamps to the center position. So this 3D printed part will allow me to do that. So it's got a quick release here. It allows you to flip the knife over. And what I like about that is anytime you change positions like that on like a different system, if you clamp it up differently or whatever, you could change the angle by a little bit, and it only takes a little bit to kind of throw your sharpening off. So let's see. One thing I don't like is, well, this knife's rigid enough, but if the knife can flex or move, it's going to interfere with the sharpening. Scoot back a little bit, get my eyeballs on. I bought a Worksharp fixed angle sharpener, but it had so much flex. Yeah. I'm gonna get on and buy the Sharpall fixed angle sharpener. And what I don't like about it, the TS Prof and a lot of these sharpeners are set up to take different size plates that are standard on the market, so you don't have to buy their proprietary stones. And then another thing on this system is if you change stones and it's a different thickness, then that changes your angle as well. And so with this one, you can set the thickness of the stone so that when you change your stones, you can ensure that the angle of the knife is not changing. So, do you like the Wicked Edge? I have not used the Wicked Edge. Again, the reason I don't buy these systems is when you can freehand sharpen, it's always faster. Most of the time, it's going to be faster if you can freehand sharpen. I don't have to fixture up a knife. I don't have to change out stones in some sort of locking fixture. And yeah, the value to a fixed angle system, though, is freehand sharpening. Maybe not every single pass is going to be correct. Like what separates somebody who's good at freehand sharpening and somebody who's not is the consistency to hit that exact same angle every single time. And so the system here is slower. However, it's going to be faster for somebody who's not consistent or who hasn't put in the work. Hey, what's going on? So what I like about a fixed angle sharpener, especially for somebody who doesn't want to take the time, learn the skill, is once I have this knife set up, the angle that I want, it's repeatable. I can come back, hit the minute I lose the edge, I can come back and hit that edge perfectly every time. Giving that I clamp it the same, keep the same angle and all that jazz. So, let's see, what else? There's a little bit of flex. And then I'm using oil on these stones. I don't really care for oil. I prefer water. But on my community post, I posted a picture of one of these stones, a very expensive stone that was separated from the plate. Not too happy about that. I reached out to the manufacturer and he suggested that I super glue the stone down, and suggested that maybe it did that because of the stones not being in a climate controlled environment, or it could be the wrong oil used on the stone, and well, yada. The stones were made in Germany, and I wasn't too thrilled about with the cost of the stones that they didn't offer to send me a replacement or something more than super gluing my stone back down. I guess I have an earlier version, they said. They had that problem with a little bit. Supposedly the new ones don't do that. I'm like, well, for what I paid for the stones, you'd think they'd be sending me a new one. They did offer I could pay the shipping, ship it back to them so they could study it, and they would maybe send me some new ones or something. I don't know. But shipping, I don't know. I wasn't too, I'm like, so I spend more money. I wasn't happy with the customer service. I'm like, well, and I had planned on buying some more stones from them because the stones that I have are the fine ones, and I wanted to get their coarser stones. So I have a burr in the middle. I still don't have a burr on the tip or the heel. And it's kind of hard because I understand both sides of that equation. And there's nobody else doing what they're doing to the level that they're doing it. But let's see, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Sometimes this nut will loosen up. I was just checking and making sure that it's staying tight. Let's see what other comments are. So are you moving the sharpening stone perpendicular to the blade edge instead of in line with the edge? I am, yeah, I would say perpendicular. So if you're trying, if you're saying like, am I not dragging it across the edge? So just like when you're sharpening on a stone, a lot of times you want your scratches kind of, 45 degree. I wouldn't want my scratches parallel with the edge. And here's why. You create scratches in the steel, or, where the steel is being removed, can create stress, fractures, lines. And if you want your edge to be strong, then you don't want scratches running parallel to the edge. It would make your edge of your knife weak. Also, the scratches giving you kind of a micro serration. You want them to be perpendicular to the edge. So let's I don't know if you guys are hearing that, but I'm gonna put a drop of oil there. See if I can quiet this thing down. Hey, what do you know? Shalom. Viking Preparedness. Hey, how are you doing? One thing I would do or would like to do is you can put stops on this for your stone, which would allow you to kind of quickly come to wherever the edge of the stone is and use the full width of the stone. One thing is kind of dangerous with these sharpeners. They've got this pad here because people have run their hand into the edge as they're sharpening. I thankfully have not done that. I could see where it'd be kind of easy to do. Boy, have a nice burr on most of the blade, but I'm trying not to twist the stone. Kind of let it lay flat. If you put too much pressure on one side or the other, you could cut kind of a groove in your edge. I'm doing, perpendicular passes with a little bit of a sweeping motion. One thing I found with this too is because these are diamond stones, the diamonds can break off. Yeah, it's chilly. It got kind of a cold front moved in, and I've been sitting too much today. I recorded a podcast with somebody today for like 2+ hours where I was just sitting here, and yeah, I got cold. My circulation's probably not as good as it should be. Lots of coffee. So what I started to say was these diamonds kind of get on the blade, and then, when you go to wipe them off, you can scratch your blade, which I typically like. I could care less if my blade's scratched up. And here comes some rain. However, like I wouldn't want to do that to somebody's blade that I was sharpening for them. Another reason diamonds are nice is they're aggressive, but I feel like you don't get that with water stones. You don't get that grit contamination that will scratch your blade like that. And then, two, using water versus oil, the oil kind of holds that abrasive on the knife stronger than, if you're using water, it just rinse right off and not scratch the blade, in my humble opinion. So where's the angle block at? I should grab the angle cube and check I believe this is like 14 degrees per side. I typically like to do about 19 degrees on a knife. I'm just kind of curious, holding a pretty shallow edge on this one. It will be screaming sharp, but is not going to be as tough. But I kind of just playing around with Oh, I didn't grab those diamond stones. 1,700, 250. Yeah, I don't like to be cold either. I've had my fair share of being cold, working ice storms. I prefer to stay warm. Ain't doing no cold plunging here. Man, that's really cutting in. That burr rolls over, and then when you flip it, that burr is really grabbing the stone. So I have an idea. Going to start trying to get a schedule figured out for some classes here. And I really want to do, I really like to teach classes, you know, on how to make knives and stuff like that. I think I'm going to try to do a super basic. So in order to charge enough to make it profitable and worth my time, I have to charge a lot for a class. However, I want it to be something that more people can do. Kids, you know, like if you're charging, you know, at some point it just is not real practical unless you're planning on starting a business or, you know, whatever, to have a class where the price is just not really reasonable for children or somebody to take. And so I've been trying to think about like, how can I offer classes for more people? And I decided like I'm kicking around doing a knife kit class where you, one of Jack's sponsors is knifekits.com, and thinking like just buy a kit off of there, but you come to the shop, you finish it here. I'll teach you, you know, proper ways to put on handles, sharpening, all that kind of stuff. And it also would allow the class to be a lot shorter. And then there could be possibilities of having upsells, like maybe you don't want a knife kit knife, maybe you want one better steel. I could provide a heat treated blank and for a higher charge. What stones are you using? What stone was that? So the stone I posted in the picture was a Dr. Marv stone. It's a resin bonded, like a vitrified, I think it's a vitrified diamond stone. The stones I am currently using are the Edge Pro diamond stones. I have the Edge Pro sharpener as well, and I'll be doing a review on it. I like the build quality of the Edge Pro. There's things that I like about it. I don't care for it doesn't have a clamp. It's just, you just set the knife on it. It's got magnets and it's got a stop. And I found like trying to sharpen like the smaller Genesis knives with it, it just wasn't conducive. There's some other things, but I might try to make some sort of clamping system for it, because it definitely has a better like rod guiding system. and it's got some things that I like a little bit better about it. However, yeah. So these are the Edge Pro stones, diamond stones. And I haven't used these stones enough to have a real good opinion on it. I feel like they're decent stones, but I haven't used them enough to say a whole lot on them yet. Hopefully you guys can hear fine. We're getting some good rain. Edge Pro resin matrix stones are pretty good stones. Nothing wrong with them. Just cut a little. Yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling like. I feel like these stones don't cut real fast. Like they cut, but they don't seem to cut as fast as I would expect diamonds to cut. It's really like people miss the heel and the tip a lot of times when sharpening, even freehand. But it seems like it's really hard to get that tip, the burr on the tip of this knife. So another tip for sharpening, if you're struggling to feel like you're getting a good edge, overkill is your friend sometimes. I'd rather like know without a shadow of a doubt that I have a burr than to not. I can take my fingernail and drag it off this edge, and right when I get to the edge, I feel it catch. That's one way to test, or you can drag it on your fingernail and see if it gathers up, your fingernail on the edge because the burr will catch it. People use Q-tips or dryer sheets to check the edge. There's a million ways to check for a burr. If you lap them down around 120 grit, they'll cut a little faster. Still pretty slow. Let's see. I'll check it out. Diamond. I'll have to check your channel out. I'm not sure that I'm familiar with it. But yeah. Thanks for sharing your sharing. There is a I think something to think about is, what was I talking? I was talking to somebody earlier this week. Anytime you're trying to learn something, that's what it was. anytime you're trying to learn something and you go to somebody to learn, you have to keep in mind, and this is bad, but I mean, this is life. Like, people will tell you stuff, like you ask yourself, what motive does this person have in telling me what they're telling me? What biases do they have? If you really want to learn, then it helps to know, like, what would motivate somebody to say something. Because when somebody has nothing to gain from what they're telling you, or when somebody has something to gain from what they're telling you, there's always going to be some level of bias or some level of something clouding their opinion, right? One of my biases, I guess you might say, is I'm a firm believer people should learn how to freehand sharpen. And so it's easy to just like say, oh, these fixed angle sharpeners are for the birds, just learn how to freehand sharpen. That's not really fair, because there are good things about fixed angle sharpening systems. And it's great for people who just know that they don't want to learn how to freehand sharpen. They want something different. And not everybody has to drink Coke or Pepsi. There's probably better off if you don't, but you know what I mean? Like, I like coffee. You don't like coffee, I don't need to convince you that coffee is good or bad. I can tell you my experience, why I drink it, why I like it. But the minute I start selling coffee, now I'm going to have a reason to talk good about it and tell you all the good things about it, and maybe not tell you the bad things about it, and so on and so forth. So when you're trying to learn something, ask yourself the questions like, what does this person gain in what they're telling me? Kind of don't just believe everything you hear. Know that. So kind of, I guess what brought this part of the thought is, let's see. I'm not going to catch up with this. So one of the things so I'm in a sharpening group, and I shared an opinion I had on mechanical. So to be transparent, like 95+% of the knives that I send out are sharpened on a machine because it's efficient, it's fast, and it gives you an excellent edge. All right. I still question whether or not, I believe that there might be a very slight loss in quality due to heat generated by a mechanical sharpener. And somebody in this group who makes her living sharpening knives on a machine and telling other people how to sharpen knives on a machine basically said I was wrong. And that's fine. That's his opinion. But he asked for other people's opinion, so I gave mine. And here's the thing. What I'm talking about when I say there's like the heat could damage the edge, I'm talking about if it even affects 1 to 2 microns of that edge, 5 microns of that edge, you're not going to be able to see it, and you're not necessarily going to be able to know. And it's so like only somebody who really is good at distinguishing stuff, have some way to measure it. It's almost like unmeasurable and indeceiveable, or what's the word? It's almost hard to tell. That doesn't negate the fact that it could damage the edge, right? So I'm not willing to say that there's no damage to the edge. They want to say there's no damage. You know, I don't care. I think that like we're like almost straining at gnats, but I just don't like if you ask for somebody's opinion and they give it. Like I already knew his opinion. I didn't feel like there's much need to say I was wrong. It's like I'm not going to get into this argument with you. It's my opinion, and I guess the thing is, if like you want to know somebody's opinion, be open to hear it and be open to say, maybe I don't know everything. So there we go. I'll get off my soapbox. Let me see what comments are here. If you're up and down my channel, I'm a proponent of lifting up heavier burrs myself. Good. Know where they are coming from. You hit the nail on the head. Everyone should learn how to freehand sharpen, at least decently fix angles. Yeah. Imperceivable. Thank you, Chris. That's the word I was looking for. It just wasn't coming to my mind. So, I mean, there are so many nuances to sharpening. So, I was talking about today. So, there's stories of people who have seen somebody pluck a hair from their head and drop it on the edge and split a hair. And there's stories of like the samurai who would drop a silk scarf and it would cut falling down on the edge of the sword. And we're too quick to just say like, oh, those are fairy tales or they're, tall tales, whatever. And if you believe that those things are not true, then you'll never find out. There was a time when they said it was impossible to run, a sub 2 hour marathon or, whatever. And we're finding out that they're like, it's not impossible. I think that there's a good chance that those stories could be backed by fact. And we just don't know because we've lost the knowledge. We've lost the skill. And if it's possible, like I want to be the one to find out. I have literally tried to drop a hair on the edge and cut it. And I had a time where I dropped the hair and it like stuck to the edge. And so it cut partially through the hair. And I was like, how close was I? There's so many factors that fall into something like that. Like what degree angle are you holding the edge? Like how thick's the hair? How long's the hair? What's the relative humidity? Like all these things that can play into something that can affect it. So I don't know. I want to get it on video. I want to be the first guy to capture on video splitting a hair, just dropping it on a blade, if it's possible. So, but the level of the effort, the time that it would take to achieve that is not, the guys that run the sub 2 hour marathons, it's not like they just went out and tried once and got it done. Took years of dedication and practice, trying things, learning from others, good coaches, a great support team, all that kind of jazz. So we'll see. There's a lot of nuances, though, to sharpening. It's not just, so here I'm moving up through these stones, And for a lot of things that I would be doing, I would be probably better served to stop at a coarser grit, remove the burr, and be done. I'm actually not going to, I don't think we're going to try to split no hairs tonight, but that's crazy. You definitely know when you have that burr on and you flip this knife over, there's a lot of resistance till that burr gets rolled off. You know, that's like the argument of sharpening leading versus trailing strokes. And I have my way of doing it. A lot of people do it the other way. I'm actually doing edge leading right now instead of edge trailing. For freehand sharpening, I like edge trailing. But both will get a burr, and both will get a knife sharper than most people have ever had a knife. So to sit here and argue with somebody on which way they want to sharpen their knife, I'm just not going to do it. All right, I think I'm going to stop there. We're going to stop at, what is this? 450 grit. I need to order a bunch of stuff because I'm going to order some new diamond emulsion that I want to try out. And I'm going to probably order that Sharpall fixed angle sharpener. I'm wondering if I can 3D print. So I want to, one of the reasons I didn't look at that sharpener much in the past is because they've got kind of proprietary stone holders. It's not like I couldn't use these stones on it. But I think I might see if I can't make something up where I could sharpen. I would even like to try to put water stones on one of these sharpeners, cut them down and glue them to something. All right, let's see. My cut testing videos absolutely prove belt finishes edge will never perform like freehand or fixed angle edge. Heat fatigue drastically affects edge performance. See, I would agree with you. However, there's so many factors. So the reason I use the sharpener that I use is it's got a 1x30 belt. It's a slower RPM than most. You know, these guys, and this is the problem, is these guys are grabbing like Harbor Freight or Grizzly tools 1x30s. They are far too fast. And then they use belts until they're dull, and which creates more heat. And I'm just not going to believe that there's not damage to the edge. I think I can sharpen one on my sharpener and not lose. I think it would, yeah, it'd be fun to test all that. You know, like I would be willing to sharpen one on my sharpener and test it and put it up against any other person sharpening on some Harbor Freight or Grizzly thing. And I could almost guarantee they're going to have I'm going to have far better results because of the care that I take in not building up heat in the edge on my blades. I've even thought of like, it's like, what if you dripped liquid nitrogen on your belt and cooled it down? You know, like that's what there's so many factors. The temperature of your room, the temperature of your machine, the longer you use it, the more everything heats up. But most of those people are, you know, their customers are happy and they're happy and they're making money. And whatever. I enjoy freehand sharpening better too. Like this is all right, but it's not as satisfying as just sitting with a water stone and sharpening at the sink. This feels, and I'm sure it will feel more natural the more I do it, but it's not. Not my idea of, not as enjoyable. You got noise. All right. Let's see. What do you guys think of the new backdrop? I like it. Let's see. Still got a little bit of a burr there. Let's do that. It's tree topping, but not, I feel like there's still a little bit of a burr there. Yeah, I mean, you know, think about friction fire by hand, steel and a steel, fire steel. A simple on a steel creates 1,000-degree spark. And, when sharpening on a machine, you've got an abrasive traveling at a pretty good rate. And I know most of that heat is going to go, like if you're creating a chip, the heat's going to go into the chip, but there's going to be some level of heat that goes into the steel itself. I think it's just kind of ignorant to think that there's not going to be any heat affected by mechanical sharpening. Let's see. Oh yeah, much better. Tree topping. Catching. You can see the knife kind of, as it catches hairs, and kind of jiggling around. Let's see if I can show you the scratches in this blade created by those diamonds. Yeah, you can see them. Look at those big scratches. Yeah. Anyways, this is a using knife. I use it, abuse it. Nice and sharp. Too bad I don't have some paper towel around here to cut. All in all, for $100, it's not a bad setup. These can tend to get loose on you. This didn't come with it. I like the T-handled Allen things for it. What I don't like, I would rather have like a number delineation on the side. If there's a scale, like I personally would put a scale on the side. It's got a scale, but it's like, this is the scale. I got like a kitchen knife, pocket knife, yada, yada, yada. But there's no arrow pointing. That arrow, I guess there is one arrow. What is there? There's two arrows. Sorry, I'm half blind. There's a up Yeah, there's 2 arrows on this that say up and up. I'd prefer like 1 pointer in a scale, like 0 degrees to whatever. And even negative, like -1 degree, because essentially the scale's not going to be accurate, but you could kind of have it accurate. But if I knew the scale was off by 5 degrees, 4 degrees, then I would just simply say, okay, well, I want my knife at 12 degrees and it's 4 degrees off, so it's going to be 16 degrees. I don't know why they don't have any kind of degree lineation on this scale. And yeah, change that. And then when you loosen this to adjust the angle, this thing just like flops down or it kind of moves quickly. I would like a finer tune adjustment or less slop to where it's just easier to dial in the angle. What else don't I like about this? I don't know. Those are some of the things that I would personally change about this system. I like that it breaks down. It's pretty compact. You know, it'd be nice if it had some way to kind of take this stand down a little bit, break it down a little more. But for $100, it's crazy that they can produce this for $100. Pretty good system for what it is. Especially considering, you know, $800 for something else. Let's see what else your comments are. Can you get a butter knife to do that, to pop hairs? Oh yeah. For me, I don't mind fixed angle sharpenings, but it's just too daggum slow. Yeah, freehand is just so fast. That strop was much thicker than stones you were using. Huh? No, I didn't adjust it. Yeah, I should have adjusted that. That's probably why it didn't help. Thanks. Good call. Good call. And that's too, like, I didn't adjust for this. I should have. Those stones are all pretty consistent on the thickness. But yeah, it's way thicker because I just took a piece of wood, piece of king wood, and put my leather strop on it. That would have helped. That's why the strop didn't help on this. I mean, it helped some, but not much. What else? Exactly. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. Guess, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? I'm tired. It's been a long week. Lots of company. Almost 8 o'clock. Gotta finish up a custom knife, and I'm probably gonna have to overnight it because I took too long. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be here again next Tuesday, 7 o'clock, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Tell me if there's anything else you guys would like to go over or see. And yeah, this has been Patrick with MT Knives. Stay sharp. See you next week.